जय जय राम जय रघुराम दशरथ नंदन राजा राम।
जय जय राम जय राम दशरथ नंदन राजा राम।
जय जय राम जय रघुराम दशरथ नंदन राजा राम।
जय जय राम जय रघुराम दशरथ नंदन राजा राम।
अभय प्रदायक आनंददायक
अभय प्रदायक आनंददायक
अभय प्रदायक आनंददायक
अभय प्रदायक आनंददायक
त्रिभुवन मोहन सीताराम।
त्रिभुवन मोहन सीताराम।
त्रिभुवन मोहन सीताराम।
त्रिभुवन मोहन सीताराम।
दानव भंजन दीनोद्धारण।
दानव भंजन दीनोद्धारण।
दानव भंजन दीनोद्धारण।
दानव भंजन दीनोद्धारण।
प्रेम सागरा साई राम।
प्रेम सागरा साई राम।
प्रेम सागरा साई राम।
प्रेम सागरा साई राम।
जय जय राम जय रघुराम दशरथ नंदन राजा राम।
जय जय राम जय रघुराम दशरथ नंदन राजा राम।
अभय प्रदायक आनंददायक
अभय प्रदायक आनंददायक
त्रिभुवन मोहन सीताराम।
त्रिभुवन मोहन सीताराम।
दानव भंजन दीनोद्धारण।
दानव भंजन दीनोद्धारण।
प्रेम सागरा साई राम।
प्रेम सागरा साई राम।
प्रेम सागरा साई राम।
प्रेम सागरा साई राम।
जय जय राम जय रघुराम दशरथ नंदन राजा राम।
राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा।
राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा।
राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा।
राम
नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा।
तुम ही हो गीता, तुम ही रामायण,
तुम ही रामायण,
तुम ही हो गीता, तुम ही रामायण,
तुम ही हो गीता, तुम ही रामायण,
तुम ही हो वेद कुरान,
तुम ही हो वेद कुरान,
ओ बाबा तुम ही हो वेद कुरान,
ओ बाबा तुम ही हो वेद कुरान,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा, तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा।
राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा,
राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा, तेरा नाम एक सहारा, तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा,
तुम ही हो गीता, तुम ही रामायण, तुम ही हो वेद कुरान,
तुम ही हो वेद कुरान,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा, तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा।
राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा,
कृष्ण राम गोविंद नारायण,
कृष्ण Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Madhava Keshava Hari Narayana
Madhava Keshava Hari Narayana
Madhava Keshava Hari Narayana
Madhava Keshava Hari Narayana
Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Shri Venu Gopala Krishna
Shri Venu Gopala Krishna
Shri Venu Gopala Krishna
Shri Venu Gopala Krishna
Madhava Madhusudana Narayana
Madhava Madhusudana Narayana
Madhava Madhusudana Narayana
Madhava Madhusudana Narayana
Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Madhava Keshava Hari Narayana
Madhava Keshava Hari Narayana
Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Shri Venu Gopala Krishna
Shri Venu Gopala Krishna
Shri Venu Gopala Krishna
Shri Venu Gopala Krishna
Madhava Madhusudana Narayana
Madhava Madhusudana Narayana
Madhava Madhusudana Narayana
Madhava Madhusudana Narayana
Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana
Nataraja Nataraja Natan Shekhara Raja Nataraja Nataraja Natan Shekhara Raja Shivaraja Shivaraja Natan Shekhara Raja Shivaraja Shivaraja Natan Shekhara Raja Shiva Shiva Namo Hara Hara Namo Shiva Shiva Namo Hara Hara Namo शंकर शिव नटराजा
शंकर शिव नटराजा
शंकर शिव नटराजा
शंकर शिव नटराजा
नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर
पार्वती पतये हर हर
नमः पार्वती पतये हर 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 महादेवा
हर 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 महादेवा
ओम हर 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 महादेवा
ओम हर 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 महादेवा
नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा शिवराजा शिवराजा नटन शेखरा राजा शिव शिव नमो हर हर नमो शंकर शिव नटराजा
शंकर शिव नटराजा
शंकर शिव नटराजा
शंकर शिव नटराजा
नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर नमः पार्वती पतये हर 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 महादेवा
हर हर हर
ओम हर 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 महादेवा नटराजा नटराजा नटन शेखरा राजा
राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय राम
राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय राम
राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय
राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय राम
करुणाभिरामा कमनीय नाम
करुणाभिरामा कमनीय रामा
करुणाभिरामा कमनीय नाम
करुणाभिरामा कमनीय रामा
राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय
राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय रामा
कोदंड रामा कल्याण रामा
कोदंड रामा कल्याण रामा
कोदंड रामा कल्याण रामा
कोदंड रामा कल्याण रामा
शरणागत परिपालन श्री चरणा रामा
शरणागत परिपालन श्री चरणा रामा
शरणागत परिपालन श्री चरणा रामा
शरणागत परिपालन Rama, Shri Rama, Sai Rama.
Rama, Shri Rama, Sai Rama.
Rama, Shri Rama, Sai Rama.
समर विजय राम साकेत राम.
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 राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय राम.
राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय राम.
करुणाभिरामा कमनीय नाम.
करुणाभिरामा कमनीय राम.
राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय राम.
राम श्री रामचंद्र जय जय राम.
कोदंड रामा कल्याण रामा.
कोदंड राम कल्याण राम.
शरणागत परिपालन श्री चरणा राम.
शरणागत परिपालन श्री चरणा राम.
रामा श्री रामा साई रामा.
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 समर विजय रामा साकेत राम.
समर विजय रामा साकेत रामा.
समर विजय रामा साकेत राम.
समर विजय रामा साकेत रामा.
राम श्री
रामचंद्र जय जय रामा.
Offering our collective prayers and love at the lotus feet of our beloved Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, a loving Sairam to one and all. Today marks the 10th year of Swami's first visit in Singapore. His first satsang in Singapore was in June 2014. Swami has been a very gentle and loving parent to all of us, embracing us and encouraging us through this journey towards self-realization. This morning, Swami graciously delivered his keynote address at the Happy Parenting Workshop. He used the word parenting as an acronym to convey the role that parents play in a child's life. P for priority, A, availability, R, responsibility, E, education, N, negotiation, T, trusteeship, I, investment, N, never give up, and G, for the greater good. Dearest Swami, it is truly your infinite mercy and compassion that you are once again blessing us with your divine darshan. Our hearts overflow with gratitude to be in your physical presence. Thank you, Swami. We would now like to invite two devotees who are no strangers to many of us here to share their experiences. Uncle Ganesan and Auntie Sriganti. Dr. Ganesan Naidu is an orthopedic surgeon at Parkway East Hospital, Singapore. He is an orthopedic trauma surgeon with more than 30 years of practice and is currently the honorary secretary of the Singapore Orthopedic Association. He also performed surgery free of charge at Swami's hospital. Auntie Shuganti was a senior operating theatre nurse and plays an extensive support role in Swami's mission. They are the epitome of humility and the living embodiment of what it means to be devotees of our dear Swami. Uncle Ganesan and Auntie Shuganti.
Our humble pronounce at the lotus feet of Sri Satya Sai Baba and our loving, dear Sadguru, Madhusudan Sai. Good evening, uncles, brothers and sisters, children, Swami students, to this wonderful gathering, as always when Swami is in Singapore. Swami has asked us to share our experiences and our emphasis or impression that he has had on our lives and our family. I'm not a public speaker, so as usual, I'm a bit nervous, and so is my wife, but I will try. I'm good at giving lectures in my subject matter, but when it comes to public speaking, it's a bit different. So let me use my lecture experience to speak in public. So I usually have a PowerPoint, which is not present right now. So I will start my lectures normally with a synopsis of what I'm going to talk about. And there are 3 parts to my talk, and I promise you it won't last more than 15, 20 minutes. So bear with me. The first is how we came into Swami's fold, and that has to go back to my history. After this, my wife will give her own experience. And after that, and how I came to be standing here and with Swami and my experience. The second part is how to be available in Swami's mission. And thirdly, I would like to thank Swami for giving us the opportunity to be part of his mission and to be part of what is termed now as the Kode family. Generally known in Mudanali as the Singapore gang, as Swami has branded us. But it's also, we know ourselves, the Kode family, and we started that with Swami in 2014 in Kodaikanal. So first of all, I was born in Petaling Jaya. For those of you who don't know, it's in Malaysia. It's just next to Kuala Lumpur. And I was born at Sunta Hospital to my parents, my father was a government servant. I came from a poor family, and my mother was, she didn't work. She was she was born into a fairly rich family at that time. My father finished Form 5 in Malaysia, and that is equivalent to a degree level at this time and age, if you don't know, but the young guys don't know about that. So he's a very intelligent man. He joined the customs, and then after the immigration, and then went on to became a diplomat in the Malaysian Foreign Service. So his journey up to Form 5, he was given a scholarship, well, not a scholarship, a degree, a place in Australia, Sydney, to do accountancy. But because of family circumstances, he had to work for the family, and so he dropped out and he started working in the customs department. And that is also a lesson for some of us to learn about how life tends to push you into one way or one road in which you may have done much better if you had done the other way, accountant, but he had to do what he had to do. My mother finished Form 3 because those days girls were not allowed to study more because they were supposed to get married and reproduce and so on and so forth. But she taught herself Tamil, taught to read and write. So she was an intelligent woman. She is an intelligent woman, sorry. She's an intelligent woman. So that was their life. And I studied overseas because my father was a diplomat. So I started school in New York. We were there for 4 years, and then we moved on to Moscow during the communist time. So I was in Moscow for 4 years in an international American school, and you may maybe get a little bit of a twang of my words. They sound a bit American because I was brought up in that, not putting it on. And so then we came back to Malaysia, my secondary school. I finished international school in Malaysia, and I came to Singapore for my junior college, which is in Raffles Junior College. Finished A-levels, and then I applied to medical school because I didn't know much about medicine, but what I really liked and I fell in love with was the when I used to go and visit clinics. I was very awed with these doctors who used to walk in with white coats, and also I love the smell of Dettol. So that's not a good reason to do medicine for me, but that's the truth. So that was one of my first miracles, because I didn't do that well in A-levels, as well as you would expect to do if you want to get to medical school, all A's and so on. So I did get into Malayan University, which in KL, and I was put on a waiting list for National University of Singapore. I was in Malaysia at that time. And it so happened that I was on a waiting list. 10 Malaysian students who applied from Malaysia to NUS decided to do medicine in Malayan University. So they pulled out, and I was given that last place. Last place to do it, and also at that time the ringgit and the Singapore dollar was almost 1-to-1. So my father said, this is no brainer, you go to Singapore, there's a better reputation, so on. So I came to Singapore, and I did my medicine in Singapore. It was a whirlwind experience in US, but I did graduate, and after that, my first posting as a medical officer after housemanship was in orthopedics in Singapore General Hospital. And that's when I fell in love with orthopedics. And from that time onwards, I couldn't do anything else. But I did rotate around as a medical officer for 8 to 10 years in different departments, general surgery, A&E, so on and so forth, but I always had that love for orthopedics. The other thing was that, and then so much so, I got a place in Tan Tock Seng Hospital Orthopedics as a service registrar. I was the first service registrar in Singapore. So what was a service registrar? It's a registrar who has the pay of a registrar, who has the responsibilities of registrar, but doesn't have any promotional prospects. You're just a service registrar. So I applied for traineeship in orthopedics for 4 years, from 2000 to 2004. I was not given a place. Every year I would apply, and they would reject me. For what purpose, I don't know, but there are many reasons which I don't want to mention right now. And that's when we came to the fold of being known with Sai Baba in 2004. And as I mentioned yesterday in our house when I was giving a short talk, that it was my wife who had a dream of Sai Baba coming in a dream and saying, come to Whitefield. At that time, I was not a believer of this, and I said, no, we're not going to go. And usually, I think, from what I hear, it's the ladies that get the first message. The men, the men tow along. That's most of the time. It could be happening the other way. So, but in 2005, we did decide to go to Whitefield, and we were brought by our good friends Ravinder and Kohila. They brought us to Whitefield, Brindavan, and it was a wonderful experience. I cried when I first saw Swami. I don't know why, but there was no previous connection, but I cried. And we realized that this is something which is different, which is special. And then we went to volunteer ourselves in the Balvi class with our kids, our 3 boys. We were the transport organizers, so there used to be a bus that used to bring the students from Pasir Ris and Tampines, so we used to coordinate that. And then during the Balvi class, which was on a Sunday for 2 hours, we used to sit in the admin room, and my job was to staple and to chop the forms. But it doesn't matter what's your experience, but all these small things counts, and I'll come to that later. So time went on, and I rose up the ranks in Tan Tock Seng Orthopedics. I got my traineeship. 2 years later, did my exams, and I would say, thanks to Swami's grace, I rose up pretty fast to be the head of department in Tan Tock Seng Hospital, head of the orthopedic department. Now we come back to coming into Swami's fold here. In 2014, I got a call from my dear friend, Dr. Ravi Pillai, who says, Swami wants to see you. So I said, I thought Swami was not around anymore, 2011, right? Yeah, so he said, no, there's something here, and you have to come to Kodaikanal. At that same time, I had to go to Korea, Seoul, for one of my conferences. I was also an AO member, which is an organization for orthopedics. And of course, it's a free trip, so in business class somewhere. So I wanted to go. So a couple of days later, Ravi called back. I told Ravi, no, I can't go because I need to go for this trip. A couple of days later, Ravi called back and said, no, you must come. And he was quite serious about it, So I was thinking, what's happening here? So I managed to get somebody else to go in my place, and we went to Kodaikanal. And that's where we met our dear friends, Kodai family. It's Kishore Parekh and Sudha and so many, Tiaga, and we didn't know them before this. You see, we were never in the fold of Sai Baba. We were not close to Sai Baba. We came relatively late to Sai Baba at 2005. So we didn't have the connection. But once we saw Sri Madhusudan Sai and Swami, the feelings, we immediately connected. And all of us connected, actually. We come from different walks of life. We have different strengths. We have different specialities. We have different occupations, but we all came together. And again, that's something which is important in Swami's mission. You can't do everything. You cannot be a jack of all trades. And I would like to say you should be a master of one. And I think we are probably a master of each. We have our own strengths, and we complement each other as a team to support the whole mission. So that's my story, and that's why I'm here. And now what we do, as Sister has said, that we help in the Sri Satya Sai Sala Memorial Hospital in the orthopedic department. There are 5 orthopedic surgeons, and we are 2 visiting consultants. We have weekly meetings over Zoom. They go through with this, all the cases, and we give them our advice. We go there and operate once every 2-3 months. We do some of the complex surgeries, and we manage the department from here. So that's what we do. So that's what I'm here. That's why I'm standing here. And you can see the miracles that have happened to me. 1, in getting into medical school. 2, in getting into traineeship. 3, to become head of department. And I can tell you, I was not only the head of department, I was also one of the examiners for the MBBS for medical students. I'm also an examiner for the FRCS exit exams, orthopedic surgeons. So before they become orthopedic surgeons, they have to go through the exam. I'm also an examiner there. So I never imagined in my wildest dreams I would have such responsibilities. But I can tell you it's all due to Swami here. I mean, from where I came to where I am now, it's a miracle. And I think miracles happen to people or to situations in which there's no control. You have no control over. You can do as much as you want. You can do as well as you want. But sometimes things don't happen. And it needs a miracle for these things to happen. That's what I feel. The second part of my talk is being available. As you know, we have to be available. We want to be available for Swami's mission. But I can tell you, being available is not enough. It's not enough. You have to be able. You have to be able, and you have to be capable. Okay? So anybody can be available, but are you able? Meaning able in terms of mental ability, physical ability, and spiritual ability. You must have these 3 things. And I can add on also financial availability. Okay? And you have to be capable to do these things. It doesn't, you can't say something and expect it to happen. You have to be capable to be able to complete whatever you do. And let's be frank about this, the schools, the hospitals, the nutrition, they don't fall from thin air. You need some sort of financial backing to it. And Swami doesn't run a factory in China where they churn out things and make money, The money has to come from somewhere. So there are some of us who are capable or able in that department, and some who are not. So those who are not can contribute in their own ways, in terms of your own strengths, your capabilities. You can be a teacher. You can do the best for Swami. You can be a manager. You can be administrator. But that's something which you have. You can contribute to the mission. So we're all cogs in the wheel of the machine. I'm a small cog, but we're all connected, with the threads. And if one is spoiled or one doesn't work, the rest of it doesn't work too. So we all have to be available, able, and capable. And last of all, I'd like to thank Swami for bringing us and making us a part of the Kodai family in the Singapore gang. Like I said, we have our own strengths, and we have been through, like me, we've been through our own journeys, sometimes I would say painful journeys, but these painful journeys teaches us a lesson. And the last thing I'd like to say is never give up. That's what I did. I never gave up. So I told you the first posting I had is in orthopedics. I loved it. I never gave up. After 10 years, I still came back. And I think the best person I would like to, and as an example to this would be my good friend Kishore Parikh. He has told me his stories and what he's been through, and he's my hero. I'm not joking, but that's a story for another time. Sai Ram.
Okay, Sai Ram, I'm actually very nervous. I hate public speaking because it just gives me a lot of uneasiness, but because Swami has asked, as a mother, my father, he has requested me to say something. I'm very deeply, very grateful to you, Swami. Of course, in 2004, we went to Puttaparthi. We met, to Whitefield. We met Sai Baba, but we never had a physical interaction with him. We just saw him at a far distance. But what made me love him is because of his teachings. It was very applicable to today's context in any religion. So that's what made me, I wanted to bring my children into, his teaching. And we went to the Bhavikas. Of course, initially my friend was telling me, Sunday class, you put them there, then you all can be happy, Just, the guru will start teaching them and everything. But when we went there, we saw the need. They had so many needs, like for transport, for admin and everything. So I and Ganesan were thinking, actually we drive from Pasir Ris to Depot Road. We have a car, but because there are children who are coming from Pasir Ris all the way to Depot Road, so we all said, okay, we will do this because there's so many kids who wants to go there. So we'll be the first one to be fetched and the last one to be sent. And of course, my 3 boys are very young, so tired. They keep grumbling, saying that why mom and dad have to do such a thing. But we went through it, and I'm very happy that, God has given us this opportunity to help out. And when Ravi and Ganesan started working in the Whitefield Hospital, helping out, I'm very thankful to Ravi because he also made me, help them out with scrubbing and everything, which I really enjoyed because that's my passion. And it is only 3 days, and all this while, we will, after our work on Friday, on Wednesday, we'll take a flight. We'll do 2 or 3 operations in matter of 3 days, and we'll come back. My friend used to laugh and say, why are you doing all these things? So much of money spent and everything. But when we go to the hospital, you see the need, you'll be surprised. People come from far away, they take many 3 days, 4 days just to get the operation done. It's not like Singapore. So you guys should visit the hospital and see the patients. Then you will know the need. We will, I'm a Singaporean. I'm born in Singapore, but my friends will keep asking me, why am I going to India to help out and all these things? You can do it in Singapore. But the need is not in Singapore. The need is there. In any third world country, I'm not saying that India is there, but the rural areas. So I'm very, very happy, Swami, that, and my boys, we have brought them to see all these things. And always my prayers to you, Swami, that, we want to serve you as a family. And also, I never met all these people when I was in, because we do our work and we'll just go back home. Nothing, we don't know who's Rekha, we didn't know who's Sudha, Tyaga, maybe because of Ravinder, but most of them, I don't know them at all. The only time I met them was in Kodaikanal. The first time I met them, but the first meeting with you was, I cannot explain the feeling I had. Swami knows the deepest. Nobody knows what is happening at home, but Swami knows. When he said certain things, I knew that this is Swami talking to me. Nobody else will know what is in my house, because I'm not very close to any of them. Yeah, so that's when the journey started. And my boys at that time were teenagers, and of course as teenagers there's got a lot of distractions, a lot of bad company and everything. I was so worried. And the trip, when I was sent to Kodai, I really didn't want to go. I was like so depressed. At times I even questioned myself whether I'm a good mom. Have I done something wrong? How come my boys are like this? And kept praying to Swami. And when I met Swami, Swami only said one thing: surrender your boys to me. I will take care of him. Take care of all the 3 boys. And till today, he has kept his word. And he sees to every detail, everything. But it's just that you have to follow what Swami is saying, because he knows the bigger plan. Because, for example, my elder boy, Swami said, go and do medicine. But it was so difficult. He couldn't even get a place in Singapore. It was so hard. And he applied and he got into Aberdeen. Swami sent me interview with Elena. Both of us went and brought him for an interview, and they didn't reply us at all. So much so, Dinesh said that, okay, forget it. I don't want to do medicine. I will do accounting. Accounting. And he went to Swami, and Swami said, no. When I say you are going to do medicine, you are going to do medicine. And soon, Brother Ravi calls Ganesan and say, hey, look, Ireland, there's an application you can actually apply for medicine. And true enough, Dinesh got into medicine, and now he's already graduated. He's done and now he's a medical officer, and he just got married in January. Swami married them in Mudanahalli. So Swami has always taken care of all the 3 boys. Even Bijay, Sydney, was another headache. Every boy was giving me headache, somehow or other. Headache, but I think it was very pleasant, Swami. At the end, it's always pleasant. I go through things to learn and make me very strong. And also, with all these brothers and sisters, when I look deep into each family and what they are going through and everything, is a lot of learning for both of us. Because we are very, probably the youngest, or not the youngest, very new to all these things, but they are there to guide us, Swami. Thank you for giving them as a family, a big family, not only in Singapore, and also my in-laws, I must tell you, they are beautiful people, yeah. and they're always there to support us in any way, every time they're here. Yeah, thank you, Swami. We love you so much.
Thank you, Uncle Ganesan and Auntie Shurinti, for the heartfelt, heartwarming, and very inspiring talk. Swami, we've been waiting very eagerly this evening to hear and contemplate on your divine words. We pray to you, Swami, to grant your divine message and also seek your permission to have a Q&A session thereafter.
So the glory of God is expressed through the stories of the devotees. After all, what is God without devotees? And what are devotees without a God? So this inseparable relationship between the creator and the creation, God and devotees, master and the followers, is the very fulcrum of all good that happens in this world. As they were speaking and I was going through all the memories of how we met and how we have come this far, through so many ups and downs. It was never a smooth ride. And actually most of the people think spirituality, or you come to God and your life will become a bed of roses. I don't think that happens, at least in my experience and the experience of most of you in the room. It isn't so. It's still a road strewn with thorns, but you develop this devotion which is like a footwear. And you can still walk on the road, which is a difficult road. Yet you do not feel the difficulty like others who are not devoted. It gives you the necessary strength. And in doctor's terms, Ganeshan, like you give anesthesia before you do the surgery. So surgery still happens, but the patient does not realize the pain, because this anesthesia takes care that they do not feel the pain. They do not feel the limb at all. Likewise, devotion to God is kind of an anesthesia, which helps you to go through this motion of life, whatever ups and downs and good and bad and difficult and easy times. But it gives you the ability to handle it. Handle it without complaining, without crying, without being too judgmental, without being too harsh. It allows you to go through it. So that is the beauty. That why I insist on people listening to the stories of the devotees is because there will be something for us to learn from each of them. And while you may learn surrender and faith on one side, you will also learn this strength that they derive from devotion and from being with each other, with like-minded satsanga, with similar people, because all of them have their own stories. And this Singapore gang is especially dear to me because they were the first responders to this mission. And when it all began and there was no one who truly believed in it, and I know those times were not easy for anyone, including me, but those were the times when some of these people came on their own, and then they immediately connected, and they were available in all possible ways. And I don't mind saying that they were very, very much available financially to the mission. Because at that point in time, there was only a handful of people. There were not many people around the world who were aware of it. But today it's grown into a very large mission across the world with thousands and thousands of families involved in this work, directly or indirectly. But the glory is still that of the devotees from Singapore, because, as I said, they were the first to respond. And today when Dr. Pillai was telling that it's 10 years since it all began, it started in Kishorji's house with a small discourse, I believe, and now it has grown to this size. In 10 years of Singapore, so much has happened. It looks like a millennium, all squeezed into just a period of a decade. So much has happened, both within and without. And for me, what happened within is much more important than what happened without. So you are all very blessed. As Adi Shankara says, Durlabham Trayame Vaitat Daivanugraha hetukam, Manushyatvam, Mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha samshrayaha. These three blessings are rare to come by. And if it happens to you, consider it as a great, great boon from the gods. And what are the three? Manushyatvam, to be born as a human being. Not just an animal or a bird or an insect or an organism or a worm. You are born as human beings, and that's the first blessing. Because human beings are capable of understanding these nuances of devotion and spirituality. It's not given to the other species. So being born as a human, that is the most important blessing. Then just being born as a human and not following this path of spirituality, not developing devotion towards the divine, or not engaging in satsanga and good activities is no good. It's a wasted human birth. When you are called as a narapashu, as per Bhagavatam, you are as good as an animal, because you are only interested in eating, sleeping, and procreating and making merry, nothing more. You are as good as animals, a little sophisticated animals. But ultimately you are doing the same thing. And so it doesn't make any sense to be born as humans. You may say, I eat with forks and spoons, and animals eat the raw meat by killing. But it's ultimately feeding the stomach, nothing more than that. If that is all that your life revolves around, then it's no good. You are no good to be called as humans. So being born as humans and then developing something called mumukshutva. Mumukshutva is the desire, is the aspiration to find that self-realization, to achieve, to attain liberation. That is the other blessing that is given to human beings. And if you have got that desire in you to realize God, to grow spiritually, to attain the highest wisdom, then you are doubly blessed. But that's not enough. You were born as humans, you also have the desire to learn about God and realize God, but you do not have guidance how to go about it. Then you cannot do it. So that point in time, you also need to have the company of the Great One. Mahapurusha. Purusha means an ordinary human. Mahapurusha means a great human. So it's not saying company of God. It's not saying company of an avatar. It's not saying company of some other species. It says Mahapurusha. Amongst you there should be somebody who should have risen from the ranks of the ordinary to the highest, so that such a person can guide you through this path. Because he has walked this path. He knows the trials and tribulations. He knows the pitfalls and the whatever slips that are present on this path. Because such a person alone can guide you through this path. So being available to such a person or such a person being available to you is the third great blessing. You can imagine the beauty of this sloka and the blessings. You can count them. You all have all the three. You are born as human beings. You have developed the desire to know God, to realize God, to grow spiritually. And three, you also have the guidance that is necessary on this path. Without which, what could you have done? You would be lost. All these three things have happened to you. Then Adi Shankaracharya further explains that after having achieved all these things, if you don't put efforts, then it's like committing suicide. He kills himself. In the sense, he destroys himself by not putting the efforts. Now, this is the fourth blessing. You are also putting efforts. It's not just a wishful thinking that I should realize God somehow or the other. No. You've made yourself available, you've made yourself capable, and you have this nobility, this ability, what I call, and most importantly, stability. Now, staying 10 years in a relationship, in today's world, you know how difficult it is. You get married today, tomorrow you find ways to part, and day after you're married again. In this world, which is what you call as VUCA world in management terms, is called, it's very volatile, very uncertain. In that world, you find a steady, stable relationship. And you know, all other relationships are of one kind. The relationship with Guru or God is of another kind. It's a very deep thing. Because there is no physical transaction. There is nothing so tangible or physical to gain from each other. It's a very deep spiritual connection. And you know that it is helping you. But you really can't put a number to it. You can't measure it. And you can't, like you do something for somebody, they do something for you in return. You can measure it. It's tangible. Whereas a relationship which you maintain with Guru or God is very intangible. So many things are happening within you, around you. You will not be able to even recognize it sometimes. But somehow you know in your heart of heart that this is the right thing. What's happening is right. So that is why maintaining a relationship with Guru or God, that to somebody like me, who is not easy. You see, there are easy gurus also. They can call you for a 10-day workshop. Let's all sit down, eat organic, wear cotton, and meditate 3 hours a day. And then you're on your own after 10 days. You go and do what you want. There are easy gurus are there. And so very easy to maintain those relationships. But I expect perfection. I don't spare you till you have attained that, achieved that. And every time you achieve and you think I'll come and pat you, I give you more difficult jobs to do. Then you go back thinking, is it even worth going back to him again? And I keep testing you. I keep sharpening you. I keep owning you. Till you reach that acme of perfection. Till you become one. Yesterday, one of our doctors wrote to me. I was, as I said, I'm not an easy guru. And for me, I mean business, as they say here. If I want it, that you have to grow spiritual, you have to grow spiritual. There are no two ways about it. You cannot fool around with us. This relationship is like that. So sometimes it becomes overwhelming when we are not willing to let go of things. Somebody said, I'm so sorry that I'm disappointing you. I haven't reached the perfection that you expect me to be. You want me to be another you. But I said, yes, if you really want to help me in this mission, you have to be me. Anything less than that is not a help to me. Because then there will be imperfections, there will be shortfalls, then that work would not happen properly. So you have to be another me, another version of me, another replica of me to be helpful to me in this mission. That's a tall order. By all means, I know that it's a tall order, but I don't give up. I'm relentless. So I keep pushing you that you can do better, you can do better, you can do better. And I have seen every one of them has improved. Now you can yourself go back and do a self-audit. What you were 14 or 10 years ago versus what you are today, you have improved, you have changed, you have transformed, you have evolved. And I can see that evolution. And this is how it gets better and better. The other day I was telling Dr. Pillai and wife also, see when you're at the foothills, life is easy. You have enough oxygen, nothing to climb, nowhere to go. You can fool around the hill, go round and round and feel very happy. But once you start climbing, it becomes tough. The air becomes thin, oxygen is less, your lungs are struggling, your legs are shaking, and your weight is so much, you cannot carry anymore. Every gram of your weight weighs like a pound or a kilogram, and you have to really struggle to climb. But then you are getting closer to the peak, and that's the goal. You can always settle for the less at the foothills, but you would never enjoy that bliss of perfection. There will always be something lacking, and you would know that there is some hollowness, some emptiness despite all that you are doing. It's because you have not climbed the hill. And so that view which comes to you from the top is not yours anymore. So you keep climbing and it gets tougher and tougher and tougher. And when you reach the top, you really are blissful. You reach that perfection. That is the end of all the striving and struggle. But to reach there, it's not an easy job. So what is the only option to go there? I was telling them. You have to drop your unwanted luggage. That is the only way you can get lighter and you can climb faster. You want to carry the whole world with you on your back and also climb the hill. It's not going to happen. If you see those more mountain hikers who are climbers, they carry very minimal things with them, just enough to survive. They don't say, okay, let me carry my refrigerator, a little bit of an oven, and then a microwave and a washing machine and a car and a bit of jewelry and a few bags of clothing. None of this is allowed. They almost go in one pair of clothes, come back in the same pair. And what they have with them is very basic survival kit actually. Because they know all that unnecessary baggage will not allow them to reach the top. It will become an impediment on their way to the peak. So you have to drop. So what happens with me as you start climbing slowly, year after year, all the unnecessary baggage has to be dropped. And that's very painful. I've seen people packing for trips and tours. Of course, men will have a small bag. They'll have those same 4 pairs of clothes. And women will always be thinking, maybe I would need this also. Maybe I would need that also. And their bag keeps growing. So then it's never ending, because then you pick up a pair of clothes, then to match it you have to have a jewelry, then shoes, then the bag, and it keeps becoming fatter and fatter, your luggage. So the idea is that you just take the basic minimal, because at the top you don't need all these things. You're so happy within yourself that you don't need external things to make you happy. Nothing else is needed. But to drop all that on the way, which you have amassed and accumulated in the hope that you would need it someday, is the tough job. See, some people think acquiring things, amassing things in the world is a tough job, because you have to earn, then you have to buy, you have to store, you have to preserve. Actually, it's easier. The difficult job is to drop all that. And that is spirituality. It's just the reverse of worldliness. Worldliness is all accumulation. Spirituality is all giving up. Only the bare minimum that you require, that's all remains with you. So this is the path of spirituality, where it's not about external possessions. It's the internal ideas, your individuality, your fears, your anxieties, your insecurities. All these have to be dropped. You have to completely surrender, and with the complete faith that you will be looked after. That faith is the key to liberation, nothing else. Complete faith in Guru or God and complete surrender that is born out of this faith. These are the basic requirements to reach the top. And so what Adi Shankaracharya says, you're not putting efforts despite being born a human, despite having got to know a Guru and having developed a desire to liberate yourself. What does he mean? He means this: not willing to give up the unnecessary things in life, the individual ideas, your own attachments, your entanglements, and these are the things that need to be given up. This is what is tough. So I expect that perfection, and that is what makes it very difficult as you keep climbing. But then I don't give up. I keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I know if not in this lifetime, you will have to continue this in another lifetime, because that is the ultimate goal for everybody. You may postpone, like your exams. You may say, oh, I'll take some few exams this year and the rest of it next year. But you will have to take all of it to qualify. Someday or the other. The sooner the better. So this is the idea of spirituality, that even if you keep walking, even you climb an inch every day, it is still better than not climbing, or worse, going down, giving it up. So our scriptures, they tell, he says, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. That is what I was mentioning yesterday. Even if you're slow, walk. I always tell, if you can't fly, you run. You can't run, you walk. You can't walk, you crawl, but do not stop. This is the path. In 10 years, then you know how far you have reached. I'm sure there are times when you were sprinting, some other times you were all huffing and puffing and you're thinking, no, this is enough. We will just crawl. Some people said, let's go down. It's not my cup of tea to climb this hill of spirituality. And so on. So many thoughts would have occurred to all of you, but good sense prevailed. You are lucky that you still chose to continue and keep walking. And slowly, steadily you are climbing. And you're always under the protection of the God or Guru. Know for sure. Anybody who is wanting to walk this path, they have all the attention and grace of Guru. Because that is what I'm interested in. That is what God is interested in. He's not interested in all that we accumulate, isn't it? He's only interested in our spiritual growth. So when we grow spiritually, he becomes very happy. Very happy. Tattva bhavo prasidati says, their ultimate supreme principle becomes happy with us. Oh, here is a person who is putting efforts on spiritual path. I must help her. I must help him. And they send all the support and encouragement to you, like these people around you. So you look at each other, you learn from each other, and you start growing together. This is why a group is important, a satsanga is important, because individually it's sometimes very, very overwhelming and you give up. But when people are there together with you, as Ganeshan was saying, my idol or my hero is Kishore. So you learn from each other. And then you thank me. Thanks, Swami, you didn't put me in such situation as Kishore, so I have no reason to complain. You see? So you just know that because you are living with good kind of people. That's why satsangatve nisangatvam, nisangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivanamukti. Again Shankaracharya. Satsanga, good company, is the beginning of all spirituality. Stay in the company of good people, like-minded spiritual people. Learn from them, get inspired, get encouraged, get motivated to continue this journey and not stop just because it's getting tougher. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That's the idea. You have to get tougher, spiritually toughened, spiritually tough. And that's what keeps you going. So you should keep climbing the mountain. Don't stop halfway. Don't give up too soon. And don't be overwhelmed by the difficulties on the way. You are not the first to climb. You will not be the last. There are people before you who have gone through this. And there are people after you also will go through what you are going through. So these difficulties and problems should be should be looked at as I said, an opportunity to improve, an opportunity to strengthen and toughen yourselves, and so that you can climb better. This is the way of spirituality. As I said, it's not an easy path, but it's very rewarding at the end. It's very rewarding. You never regret being spiritual. There are no regrets for such a person who lives a spiritual life. The Upanishadic Rishi says, why did the Rishi, that regrets at the end of one's life, why did not I do the right things? Why did I do the wrong things? This does not happen to the person who walks the spiritual path. For all others, there will be some regrets at the end of their lives. And that's very painful, because you can do nothing about it at that point in time. It's over. The time is gone. And now even if you want a little extra time to, like the examination time, most of the students go through it, haven't studied through the year and that struggle towards the end, and you ask the examiner, just give me another 5 minutes, and he would be ruthless. He would say nothing doing. So that time God becomes very, very ruthless. He says, no more, not even a minute extra. This is all it is. But earlier he had given you all the time and attention to grow. So utilize that. This is why I keep telling. And as I said, what you think as a difficulty or what you think as a challenge is simply a way to toughen you, a way to improve you, a way to make you a better human being and divine being eventually. These are all on the path. Otherwise, how many lifetimes we have lived? I don't know how many in Singapore believe in this philosophy, but at least in India, our Upanishads believe. This is not the first time we are born. This is not the beginning. Birth is not the beginning. Death is not the end. That's what they say. We have lived several lifetimes where we have gone through same motions of not getting a job, struggling to get a promotion, finding a right wife, and growing the children, and going through all the motions of life, every time struggling to make the two ends meet. All these we have gone through an innumerable number of times. This is not the first time. So don't get entangled over there. So when I look at people with these problems, I say, oh, so God is here to teach you to give up these things. The other option is, so again, these options, just surrender and be done. But surrender is completely from within. You have to believe. Many people say, I have surrendered to you. But what they really mean is, just solve my problems and that's all I want from you. After that, I'll be on my own. That surrender is no surrender. You are only looking for solutions, not surrender. A surrender is when she truly believes that none of these children are my own. I'm only a trustee. I'm only a custodian. I'm only looking after them like a caretaker. It belongs to somebody. Like when you borrow your friend's car, you keep it with you, you use it, but you know, you're acutely aware that you have to return this car in the same shape, if not better. That understanding of custodianship is what I was talking about today in parenting meet. And this is what Gandhi is telling. That sometimes your situations will drive you to surrender, and you should welcome that. You should welcome that. God is pushing me, nudging me, prodding me to surrender, because He's making it so difficult for me that there is no other way other than to surrender. It's God's mercy that He's making me do this. Because left to my own self, I would have never surrendered. I would always be attached, or I would always be egoistic, or I would always be arrogant about what I have done or what I have achieved. But here is the way God is teaching me. So this is how you should look at everything in a positive way. In spiritual path, there is nothing called negative. Every negative is a positive in disguise. And God is teaching us a lesson or two. So never undermine the power of surrender. Learn to be such surrendered devotees and pursue this path till the end. Don't give up halfway. That's very, very important. I always say, beautiful Telugu padyam, those who understand. పట్టినదేదయో పట్టనే పట్టితివి పట్టిగేడు దాకా అట్టే ఉండు కోరినదేదయో కోరినే కోరితివి కోరికి చెల్లేడు దాకా తరలకుండో అడిగినదేదయో అడగనే అడిగితివి అడిగిన తీడు దాకా విడవకుండు. Don't give up. That's what is the message. What you have desired, what you have tried to achieve, if there are the obstacles also, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep walking. Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapya Varan Nibodhata. Vivekananda used to quote from Upanishad, Kathopanishad. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. So your good part is that you look at your blessings. One, you are born in Singapore, you have a good passport. You're born as human beings. Two, you have developed this desire to realize God, which is not possible for most of the world. They don't even know. Most of them don't believe God exists. So how do you help them to even develop desire for God? Not possible for them. And third, you have guidance on this path. You are not left to your own devices. You are not lost. There is somebody to tell you, somebody who has walked this path, somebody knows the pitfalls, the difficulties, the challenges, and yet can encourage you, saying, if I can do it, you can do it too. Let's do it. That is how you keep walking together as a group. This is the message in the 10th anniversary. You should ask yourself how far we have to go, and we must commit to ourselves that we shall not waste this lifetime doing the same old stupid thing that we've done before. This point in time, this commitment, this conviction is the most important thing that will keep you going, and I'm sure we will help each other to walk on this path. When somebody's getting tired, somebody's getting weak, others should lend a shoulder and help them to continue on this journey. This is why a group is important, Satsanga is important, and Singapore group is an ideal example of such Satsanga, because I go around the world, I meet a lot of people, and everywhere I quote the dedication, devotion, the surrender, commitment of the people in Singapore. And that really makes me happy. That's why I think the maximum number of times I've visited any country is Singapore. Actually, Dr. Ravi Pillai took a promise from me that you should keep coming every now and then. Every 3 months you should be in Singapore. I've tried my best. The only time I did not come was during COVID, and that time he kept me captive for 17 days to compensate for all the visits that I did not make. So you can imagine. That is what is devotion. That binds, it binds God down to the devotees. And I'm very happy to know that 10 years have passed, and it's such a wonderful thing to know that so many of you who started 10 years back are still here, despite all that you have gone through. You have to congratulate yourselves and pat each other on your backs, saying, well done on this path of spirituality, isn't it? Okay, you can ask any questions if you have. Thank you, you're telling thank you. You can just speak loudly.
You mentioned about mental health is very important.
Yes.
What if you come across, I'm seeking your advice, if you come across an 18-year-old student, right, who has gone from one therapy to another therapy, and then you know that he's been challenged mentally, what is that we can do? So that's the first question. The second question is, if a similar individual who is much more older, like you say, we are all blessed, being a human form, wanting to self-realize, etc. But you may come across someone who is much older, who never had this in mind, who has gone into, say, depression, all right, is constantly very negative. How can we so-called motivate them?
His main question is about the issue of mental health, which is growing every day. And suppose there's a young boy, let's say 18 years old, who's going through this challenge, going from one therapy session to another, but still not finding peace. How do we deal with him? How do we help such a person? And also a grown-up who has also gone through the same thing, developed a lot of negativity and not able to come out of it, kind of in a downward spiral. How do we help such a person? Now, first you understand what is mental health. Mental health is to do with mind, as we know. And what is mind after all? Mind is bundle of thoughts. That's what we say, like a piece of cloth which has threads interwoven. So thread by thread, you must analyze. Threadbare, as they say. You analyze what's going on in the person's mind. And where these negative thoughts are coming to the person from. What experiences have caused them. See, this is one side of mental health, which is the most of the psychological side. There could also be some issue with his very wiring. There could be chemical issues. As they say, that's the other side of the disease that can be taken care of with some medications to begin with. But if you have tried everything and none of it is working, then you know that it's not a physical issue. In the sense, it's not a biological issue. It's nothing to do with the brain wiring or whatever. But many people, unfortunately, live in denial for a long time that they have this issue. And I've seen a lot of parents who do not agree and they do not accept that their child is going through what they're going through. And then finally when they try everything and nothing works and it's gone too far, it's out of hand, then they seek help. And by the time, sometimes it's too late to recover from that. So maybe that is one thing when somebody has grown up too far in this kind of a mental issue and nobody agreed or nobody accepted. And sometimes there is self-denial also that I'm not having an issue. I think it's just a passing thing, but it may not be. So first, take it seriously. That is the first thing. That if you're facing some issue like that, take it seriously. Don't just ignore it saying that, no, it will be all right. It may not be all right. It may become worse. So one, do not live in denial as parents, as youngsters, as anybody who is going through some of these issues. That is one thing. Seek help where you can. If it's a medical help, fine. If it's a psychological help, that also is fine. Now, about the two age groups that you mentioned, a young boy who is going through some of these challenges and you're going from place to place trying to help. Again, as I said, you have to understand there's a biological issue which needs some kind of a medication, then do that. If despite that it's not changing, then it's to do with his thought process. He's picked up this thought process either from a previous lifetime or during this lifetime it's getting increased. So at that point in time, try to analyze his mind. Break it down into simple portions. You will observe there are certain things which makes the child very happy, like the boy, and certain things which he is very averse towards, reacts. Now start picking up things that makes the mind happy. So basically what I'm doing, I'm removing the threads from the piece of cloth which are not nice and putting back good threads into it. It's a process. It deals with a lot of patience. Have you seen these weavers? How much patience does it take for them to weave a sari? All by themselves. It's so much of patience. Every single pattern, design has to come correctly. For that, how many times they pass that thread through the cloth and how many hours they spend. So that is the kind of, you have to make the mind of the child, freshly you have to work on it. And that means a lot of hard work. So one, there should be somebody who empathizes with the person and understands and accepts the person as the person is, and then slowly works on replacing those negative emotions with some positive ones. It could be as simple as he loves chocolate, or he likes reading a book, or he just likes singing. Whatever inspires the child, motivates the child, give them that. Forget about time. Some people worry, oh, he's already 18, if he doesn't come up in life, what's going to happen? Leave all that aside. Just give him the necessary time and attention and give all the positive inputs, all the positive motivation. Most of the children will recover. When they feel self-worth, they feel self-love, they feel accepted, most of the problems are gone. With a little medical, psychological help, I'm sure that's doable. Somebody who has lived for a very long time in this and he has become so negative, it's much more difficult. The task at hand is much, much more difficult. What can we do again? I say one powerful mantra that helps everywhere is love. Somebody feels loved, they feel cared, they feel that people are accepting them, their negativity starts slowly reducing. I'm not saying you can achieve it in a week or 10 days or a month. There's no hard and fast rule. It depends on the intensity of your love for them. But I have seen love does transform people. If you truly love somebody, you're genuinely interested in their welfare, it gives you the necessary patience also to deal with them. Because you won't find results immediately. And then you might even you feel that you unnecessarily took up this task. It's impossible. But then you keep loving, keep at it for long enough, slowly changes will start happening. And as I said, don't go with expectations and conditions. Don't take it personally. I am trying to do this, the person better changes. It may not happen, but you have still given love, and that will work within the person. It may not be immediate, but it will show results after some time. And even if it doesn't show results in this lifetime, you should have the patience to know that you have done your best and this will have its own results in its own time. So that patience and love is very important when you're dealing with a person who has some mental health issue. That alone can help. Of course, medicines can help temporarily if there is a biological issue. But largely, it is to do with acceptance. And most of the children are told, you are now good because you don't fit into the regular pattern of things. And some of these are very brilliant children. Maybe they're very intelligent, very different, very creative. But unfortunately, the social stigma that is around people who do not make money, though they are good at it, that kills them. So allow them to be themselves. That is the best way to allow them to grow spiritually, and also mental health issues will get resolved. But if you are a parent to such a child or a relative to such a person, you have to exercise a lot of patience, a lot of love, and you shouldn't give up halfway. It's becoming a big issue, isn't it? Everybody is talking about it. Anything else? Nobody asked me if you have a... Oh, okay, yes. Oh, there's a small baby. Yes. You're coming from the school.
Sri Sadguru Madhusudan Sai God, what is the most memorable thing you have never forget about God Satya Sai Baba God?
What's your name?
My name is Aruna.
Such a beautiful question. Okay. What's the most memorable thing about Satya Sai Baba that you have never forgotten? He's saying. She's asking me. And I think there are plenty of things. You can never forget anything about him. But I think one or two things if I have to remember. There are physical interactions. When I was a student, there were spiritual interactions in the last 10 years. And there were no interactions, yet there was some kind of, something transpired. All these are memories that you can never forget. But one point of time that I don't forget, I recently mentioned, is this memory of mine in this spiritual way, when I was very upset one day and I told him that I think I'm no good for you. You might find a better person to do your job, because he was scolding me for not being on time. And my life was very tough in the beginning of this mission between 2012 and 14 or 15. So everything was on my own. I was on my own doing things. And there was very low acceptance for what I was doing, except a few handful of devotees who really believed in it and were supporting. Most of the others didn't understand. And when you get rejected every time, especially by your own known people, it hurts. So I used to lose friends every day. I used to lose my people whom I knew for long every day. But also making good devotees, good friends every day. That was also happening. So one such day when I was late for one of the morning sessions and I was very upset. He was upset. He said that, why you have come so late? You should be disciplined. You should come on time. I said, I arrived midnight from some other city. And I slept hardly any hours. And now I've woken up and just having a cup of tea. And you say that I'm late and you should have showed up. That time I told him that maybe I'm not good enough for you. So he said immediately, and I said, maybe you should talk to somebody who is better than me, who can do your job better. Sometimes you feel like that. So, of course, it was partly out of disappointment and partly out of little anger also, that how could he tell this to me when I've done so much? You feel you're doing so much for him. Right? That happens. That time he told me a very beautiful Telugu sentence. He said, Ledra manaki avaru unnaro neeku nenu naaku nuvvu, he said. Who is there for us? I am there for you, you are there for me. That's all, we are there for each other. Who is there for us? He told like that. And that intimacy, that ownership, that closeness, that trust was such a beautiful feeling. When God tells you, who is there for me other than you, my devotee? And who is there for you other than me, your God? We are there for each other. That's such an intimate moment. Of course, after that he told me that, I asked him, why did you choose me? Then he told me that, because you will never say no to me. Whatever I ask you, you will do. And that really surprised me at that point in time. I thought there are so many great devotees. We have read in books, we have heard from people, he himself has explained. I thought in these many years, 70 plus, 80 plus years of his lifetime, he means to say there's nobody who would always say yes to him. And other than me, I was very taken aback. But he told me, yes, you will never say no to me. And after that, the kind of things he tasked me with were very difficult. It was sometimes you almost said no. Or at least you did not want to say yes. But he had his way, he got it. And he knew my vulnerabilities. I was too emotional to say no to his ways. But I had my own difficulties, and for those who know the spiritual path, is, as I was mentioning, it was never easy. Because some things you do not want to give up, despite your guru telling you, your God telling you, and somewhere deep down you knowing that it is good for your spiritual growth. But there are other attachments, there are other feelings that do not allow you to give up those things. And that comes in the way of telling yes to God. That becomes very, very difficult. It's a battle. It's an inner battle. So there were days when I was very angry. There were 2-3 days I would not go into the room at all, because I don't want to talk to him. Because I know that he's demanding too much and he would expect me to do this. So till the last trace of I-ness goes away, he's not done. And so by training, I am a tough guru, because I have been trained this way. He didn't give up till I gave up everything for his sake. So also I don't give up on you till you give up everything for my sake. So actually, if you see, look at that. I'm an easier one actually. I'm an easier one because he knew he wanted to chisel you. So this one interaction that really stays with me is when he said, "Niku nenu naku nuvu." I am there for you. You are there for me. Who is there for us? He made me feel so special in that very moment. This was in the interaction in the subtle space. And physically, there are so many beautiful memories. Some of them I can share, some of them I cannot share. But then, those were those beautiful moments that you really feel that whole of God is for you. There's nobody else who exists for Him other than you. You are the most important person. That feeling is so special. So those are very beautiful memories. I don't know how much he understood, but when you when you know that God thinks you belong to Him and you belong only to Him, what a beautiful feeling that is. When God says, you say it, I belong to you and only to you is one way. When God says, you alone are there for me, you alone are there for me. That's such a special feeling. So I sometimes ask students, that when I tell some of them or when some devotees, how do they feel? They also give me the same expression. They say, we feel so overwhelmed when we think that we belong to you and you accept us as your own. That's such a beautiful feeling, and that's the most, I think, cherished memory of mine, of all the things. That's it. No, you don't have a question? You want to ask something? No, it's very clear. Anything else? Good. Ravipilla, you don't have any question? Our path as devotees and as my path as a guru that's been taught to me is that of a combination of karma, bhakti and jnana marga. So it's not always jnana marga where you cut off from everything, meditate in a quiet place and try to experience those things within. That may happen sometimes, sometime may not. Then the other path is of bhakti marga where you just sing glories of the divine that you worship and you're immersed in that bhakti bhava all the time. You really don't participate in any other activity, nor you are interested in meditations and reading scriptures. You are happy singing the glory of God and enjoying it yourself. That is bhakti marga. And the third one is karma marga where you actually undertake actions in the name of God as a devotion to God or as an offering to God by serving others. So our path is a combination of all the three. I call it a prema yoga, I call it, not bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga. It's a combination of all the three, where we serve the society, we sing the glory, and we also meditate on the higher truths. It's a combination of all the three, and that is our path. And they are not really different from each other. Each leads to the other path at some point in time. Predominantly it may be bhakti, but ultimately there will be wisdom, there will be service. So work, worship and wisdom is the combination of our path. And everybody should participate in all the ways. When you are capable, as Ganeshan said, participate in the service. When you are not able to participate physically or any other way, then at least think of God and enjoy the glory of God, sing the glory of God, talk about the glory of God. And if nothing else you can do, there's nobody around, no work you can do, just sit by your side and think and contemplate on these higher truths, that I and Sai are one. And that feeling you should keep telling yourself again and again, and read scriptures. Scriptures are very big motivation on this path. Or discourses, whichever way you think. So practice all the three. At some point in time, don't ever let your mind be free. The moment it is free, it's devil's workshop. You see, that moment devil takes over. It gives you all kinds of ideas, selfishness, all negative thoughts, anxiety. Do not allow mind to ever deviate from this path. Either engage in action, if you're not able to sit and contemplate, or sing the glory, or contemplate on these truths, but do something or the other. Don't just sit quiet. If you sit doing nothing, you are going to slip from this. Like you climb the hill, as I said. Climbing is very tough. One wrong step and you come rolling down. That is the risk in the spiritual path. So always you have to put efforts and keep yourself engaged in some good thing or the other. As a group, please continue to do this service. I'm sure in times to come, we all will turn into those images of the divine. Nothing less, nothing more. Perfect divinity. You will become living, talking, walking, breathing, moving, speaking expressions of the divine. And that is my goal. That is the goal of all the religions, all the spirituality that we know of. May you all attain that, and don't take too long. The more of you become like me, the more good can be done to the world. There are thousands waiting for this message. They're waiting for this guidance. They're waiting for this path. And you can show them by walking. You can become Mahapurusha. No more Manushyattvam, no more Mumukshatvam, but you yourself become Mahapurushas who can lead and guide many more on this path. And you have to change nothing. The way you wear, eat, stay, nothing has to change. Just the inside of you. The attitude towards things have to change. And looking at you, people should get inspired. So when you say Guru Dakshina is, you take from Guru, you have to give back to Guru as per Indian tradition. What is my Dakshina? Become like me. And ease my burden. So you take over my job. And you do the same thing for hundreds of more people. So more people can learn and they also can grow. Let this love, this ripple of love, this knowledge spread to everyone through your actions, thoughts and words. With these blessings, I think I will conclude. And if you have anything else to ask, you can ask me next time. Yes. And if possible, come for Guru Purnima, as many of you can come for Guru Purnima. I'll be very happy. And next year, we are starting the celebration. 100th birthday celebrations are there next year. A lot of good work is going on. I need a lot of volunteers next year to come early and help with all the arrangements, because we are inviting the whole world. So they are all new people. They won't know what to do, how to do. So those who are our devotees should be early to arrive next year. I'm giving you a long notice. You shouldn't say, I didn't get leave, I didn't have this. The November of 2025, make yourselves free and available. And be there to help those who arrive. Be on my side. Be a host. Don't be guests. And help those new people who are coming to have a comfortable stay, and they also should learn and grow. That's a lot of work. So prepare for that, okay?
हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वर ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता पिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु नीवे स्वामी मरियन्तयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नागेन्द्राशयन ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी वो साई महादेव सद्गुरु साई महादेवा मंगल हारति अंदुको मंगल हारति अंदुको मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति शांति शान्तिः समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय। जय बोलो सद्गुरु श्री मधुसूदन साई जी की जय।